Hello, this is Jeff from Baron Leathercraft. I hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to discuss the different options that we have to actually put holes in leather of projects that are really thick. One example is like knife sheaths. This knife sheath was actually made of 10-ounce leather, and in this area you got 3 pieces of a 10-ounce leather stacked, and in this area you have 4 basically, because I had to build a wedge in there for the ricasso of the blade. It can get pretty thick, a blade at this area, so you want to be able to make sure it comes in and out smoothly. Inevitably you're going to have to stitch this thing, so the concept of this video is what's the easiest way to do this without driving yourself crazy, because as I said, it gets really thick here. And what I normally do is before I go ahead and glue the top piece down, I'll use my thong to create the first set of holes through the very top piece, and those will go all the way through the top piece. But once you glue it together, that's it. You have to figure out a way to get it through all the way, and a thong is not going to do it, because if you notice, it's only going to get that far until the top of the thong is going to meet the leather. So that's not going to work. So what I normally would do was glue it together, thong it to the point where I feel comfortable, and then I'll use my awl to go the rest of the way. And you got to push it, and it takes quite a bit of pressure to go ahead and push this down. And if you can make that work less, if you can put less effort into it and make it simple, that was actually my goal for the situation. So I saw some people that use a drill press, and what I found is that if you use a drill press, the actual drill removes some of the leather from the actual material. And I'm not a big fan of that, I noticed. I didn't really do much experimenting. That's what the concept of this video is. We're basically going to learn together as I do it. Okay, the goal is to see what makes the cleanest holes. And we're going to start off with this 1.5 millimeter drill bit by placing it into the drill press. And we're going to go ahead and put holes in the thick leather and see how they come out with the 1.5 millimeter drill bit. And then we're going to use a needle, and we're not even going to turn the machine on, and we're going to go ahead and use it as a press to put the holes into the leather. And then we're going to see how that comes out. And then we're going to go ahead and use the needle again, but this time we're going to go ahead and turn the machine on to see the difference in the holes. And then we're going to decide which ones are the best for putting holes in very thick leather. Let's do it. All right, we're going to go ahead and mark these thick pieces of leather and create different rows so we could go ahead and try different processes of creating stitching holes so we could observe which ones we like the best. I'm going to do that. Start off with about 1/8 of an inch. Make it a little wider. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my 4 millimeter stitching iron and make marks. That way, we will know if everything's lining up. All right, we're going to start off with a 1.5 millimeter drill bit and see what kind of hole a drill bit is going to create in this very thick leather. Now, to fix the problem that we're having with this hole here that could allow the leather to bend a little bit by the pressure of the actual pushing down with the drill bit, we're going to take a piece of wood and we're going to go ahead and tape it there. That way it'll always use that hole, and it will have the wood to reinforce its ability to just sit still. So let's go ahead and tape this down. All right, I'm going to create a hole in there. All right, now, obviously the leather's going to bend a lot less. And the idea of this test is to see what the best technique there is to use to go through some pretty thick leather. Let's see how thick this leather is. So this is 7.58 millimeters. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a try. All right, here's the back. Obviously one hole. I didn't go all the way through. All the holes are lined up in the back. There's a pretty big chunk, out of the front, in my opinion. If you could avoid that, let's see what just the needle does. All right, first we're going to do the needle without it spinning and see how easy it is to hold on to it. We could always wax the needle up, which is never a bad idea. It pushes right through easily. It wants to pull up, I noticed. I could already tell you it looks much nicer than using a drill. I don't know. I don't want my hand to get in the way. I hope it's not. I really can't see what the camera sees at this point. It pushes through easily. It wants to lift up, but because the leather is so thick, it's not really able to. You see how it wants to pull up? We're going to try a few like this and then see if spinning the needle will actually decrease the amount it wants to pull up. Plus, we can also try wax. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the back of that now. Yeah, that to me looks much nicer than this. Not to mention that these holes have the capacity to close up because we're not removing any material. And look how much nicer that is. So I found that these little candles are the best. It's the softest of the waxes. It really is. So I'm just gonna, it's almost a liquid. So let's see how that goes. You don't need that on. I'm trying to position my hands in a way that doesn't get in the way of you seeing what's going on. Still wants to pull up. And it leaves wax. So as simple as it was, without the wax, I wouldn't use it. Because you can see the wax builds up right there. And that's gonna, if you want to dye it at this point, that actually will act as a resist. So it's gonna leave a mark. So I prefer so far to punch through with absolutely no wax. The holes are a lot cleaner. It's actually a lot easier to line up too. Plus you can choose the size needle that you want. In comparison to a drill bit, you could actually obviously choose the size drill bit you want to, but it's just not coming out as nice as just using this basically as a push. Look at these holes. Of course, this is thicker. These look a lot better. These actually look, they could pass for just your average traditional stitching hole. As far as the back is concerned, because that's important, because the back of your sheath or whatever you're working on, you want it to look nice. And see, these holes are going to close up, and if I took a hammer to them, you won't even see them anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, the drill, in comparison to just a needle pushing through, there's no comparison. You definitely don't want to use a drill if you could help it. So let's go ahead and see if we actually turn the drill on. If the holes are any better or easier to put through. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, it definitely helped with the leather not being pulled up as the needle went up. The holes look just the same as over here where we use the needle just pushing through. Let's see what the back looks like. The back is slightly lifted up more than the ones without the drill turned on. So if you were going to use this technique, it would just be a matter of, obviously this could be pushed down. The holes look better without the drill on. And with the drill on, it went through the leather a lot smoother, but it's slightly raised this up, which I bet you would be insignificant once you did the hammering. Obviously there's no thread in there right now, but yeah, those holes are going to close up right away. So, in my opinion, when going through thick leather, if you could avoid using a drill, that's great. I needed a drill press for my little shop. I bought this very tiny drill press off of Amazon, actually, and so far it's treated me well. This is tiny. I have a very tiny workshop, and that is why it was perfect for what I do. I don't need a drill press very often, so I just needed a small space and be able to work on my desk. But as far as holes are concerned, I thought I would have to do more tests, but in reality, there's no reason to. This is all the techniques that I would try. The drill bit I used here was 1.5 millimeters, and the needle I use, I think it's the smallest of the three. I'm not sure if it goes 000 or 0. I think the 0 is the biggest. Of course, I'll put some text on the bottom of this video when I double check, and I'll let you know for sure. So read the bottom. And I guess that's it. I wanted to share what technique worked best for me, and I found that, if you can find a device that'll just, act as a press, that'll work well. And the needle went through like butter, so there was no problem. And I have a feeling the thicker the leather, the easier it does. Because if I take thin leather and do that, it definitely wants to pull up more. See? With strength, I could definitely hold it down. But for leather this thin, you want to just use your chisel. But yeah, you can see it pulls up and it wants to warp the leather a little bit. There, if you get a good grip on it, you can prevent that. All right, I hope this video was helpful. I appreciate it. I like sharing these ideas. Enjoy. Peace. Stay safe. Take care.